How about Jimmy Garoppolo? Where does Jimmy G wind up next season in your mind? Where's a good landing spot for him?
I thought there were a couple where you could think of, but remember the Patriots likely aren't going to want to trade him. First of all, I think he could likely end up with the Patriots, okay? But if he's going to move on, how about Cleveland? It's going to take a lot to get him. You know, Cleveland desperately needs a quarterback. Cleveland has the picks if they want to make that move. They've worked with the Patriots before on certain trades. So, I mean, there are a couple of teams you could throw out there, the Bears, whatever it may be. I'm going to go Cleveland, though, mainly because they will overpay and they have enough to go out there and acquire Garoppolo from the Patriots.
Okay, I like it. Listen, they obviously need a quarterback to help them out. I don't know, though, that Garoppolo is the type of quarterback. We haven't seen enough of him to be able to put him in a situation where there is nothing else around him. I mean, when he filled in for Tom Brady, he had everything essentially handed to him.
Right.
He had the head coaching, he had the offensive and defensive lines, and he also had some pretty great receivers. So in order for him to go then to Cleveland and get it done, not sure. There's some question marks there. I think he's the same type of quarterback in a Tony Romo-esque situation where he needs to go to a team where there's a lot around him to help him out. I think the Houston Texans are a pretty good landing spot for him because the trade would, be pretty fitting for the Texans and their quarterback situation right now. I mean, Brock Osweiler isn't going anywhere. He's got $25 million basically in dead money. So the Texans have to retain him for at least one more season because he's got a huge cap hit. But Garoppolo, he's got 1 year left on that contract. Not a big cap hit. And say maybe for some draft picks, I feel like the Texans would welcome him in.
One thing and I do think that it would be a good fit for the Texans and Garoppolo. I mean, I think Romo would be a better fit for them, but Garoppolo will certainly be fine, especially under Bill O'Brien. One thing is, would Belichick want to trade Garoppolo to the Texans, a team that can be dangerous or maybe threaten the Patriots in the AFC if they had a quarterback? If they get good quarterback play, they can beat anybody with that defense. So that's one thing where I would watch out. I'm not so sure Belichick want to do that trade to maybe one of their AFC rivals there.
I don't know that Belichick fears anybody.
You could, but he also can dictate where Garoppolo goes.
No, of course.
You're not going to trade him in the division, certainly.
Right, right.
Texans would be one team that could potentially, I mean, they gave the Patriots trouble this year a little bit. Maybe more trouble than anybody outside of the Falcons gave them in the postseason. So
yeah, at least in the first half.
Yeah.
Second half was a different story.
First 3 quarters.
Yeah.